Good afternoon, everyone. This is ACLN Voice of Progress. We'll call it ACLN VOP. And this is a show that we're bringing to you to talk about issues about leadership in Nigeria. And before we progress, we know you want to hear or know more about ACLN. And for that to happen, what I'll do, I'll bring in our global secretary to ACLN to introduce you to ACLN and tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do and what we stand for. So on that ground, I'll bring in our global secretary. Mr. Secretary, over to you.
All right, Mr. Tega, thanks for having me. And my name is Adeyinka Fadeo. I'm the global secretary for this organization, Association for Credible Leadership in Nigeria. The president of the organization, Dr. Adewale Adefoju, unfortunately could not make it in to the studio today, so apologies on his behalf. But I'm sure subsequent VOP, that's the program, Voice of Progress, you sure will be hearing from him. So like he said, I'm here to just tell us more about ACLN, what we do, who we are in generally, and what we do. So ACLN, Association for Credible Leadership in Nigeria, is an organization that has this burden, to see a better nation. Mostly we have members in diaspora, across the world, the US, UK, Canada, Europe, and all over. And these are pretty much Nigerians in diaspora that are yearning to see better leadership. And we cannot only yearn, so this vision started out 2015 when some group of people came together, including myself, and we started this idea that we need to do something. And that was how ACLN started out. It's for seeing good governance, leadership in terms of better leadership as we see in the developed world, and of course standing that Nigeria as a nation, the youth population is vast. We all know that. So ACLN also gave itself to developing youths. And we have a series of youth empowerment programs across Nigeria. So, but to do a better justice to this introduction, I'm going to ask our host today, Mr. Tega, to just play out one or two videos that actually speaks directly to the programs of ACLN and who we are in general. So, over to you, Mr. Tega.
The Association for Credible Leadership in Nigeria, headquartered in New Jersey, United States, was born out of the dearth of credible visionaries and selfless leaders in our dear nation, Nigeria. A group of Nigerians in the diaspora came together in 2015 with a unique vision of advocating for good governance in Nigeria and have since been working towards this goal. The vision is to advocate for a new Nigeria, governed by leaders who are trustworthy, competent, and patriotic. Our mission is to work towards achieving credible leadership in Nigeria, and we hope to achieve this by building a team of committed, credible, patriotic Nigerians that share our passion and values. To remain nonpartisan and operate independently of any political party, religious organization, tribe, or creed. To embark on programs that will empower Nigerian youths and reorientate them to think differently, become patriotic, and understand good governance, and constantly demand for the same. To educate Nigerians through publications, symposiums, and conferences. To sensitize the Nigerian population about the importance of unity, and more importantly, about the power in our diversity. To awaken the spirit of nationalism and patriotism in the young and Old Nigerian. We are guided by these 7 values: integrity, trustworthiness, competency, patriotism, accountability, excellence, and social and environmental responsibility. In ACLN, we believe greatness is not the best of everything that we possess, but in the sacrifice we make to ensure we leave our nation and the world around us a better place than we met it. If what we do at ACLN excites you, we encourage you to contact us at 862-520-704 or log on to our website www.acln.org.
The Association for Credible Leadership in Nigeria, Youth Leadership Club, is a project we created to bridge the credible leadership gap in Nigeria. Our mission is to have the ACLN Ambassador Club across all secondary and tertiary institutions in Nigeria. The project has been launched in selected secondary schools as a pilot, with hopes of scaling it across the country. We identified 4 missing links that the Ambassador Club hopes to fill. 1. Understanding civic responsibilities. Leaders emerge from the people. The lack of credible leaders we have today stems from a lack of training that encourages active participation in the public life of a community in an informed, committed, and constructive manner, most especially in the formative years. 2. Mindset. There's an urgent need for a mental revolution. We need an orientation of the mindset that takes into consideration the 7 pillars of effective leaders: integrity, trustworthiness, competency, patriotism, accountability, excellence, and social and environmental responsibility. 3. Voting. Youth participation in selecting their leaders is lacking. Youth urgently need to understand that they have the power to shape their country by voting the right leaders into office. 4. Tribalistic viewpoint. The average Nigerian always chooses to tag themselves with an ethnic identity, whether he or she is Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa, instead of Nigerian. We therefore hope to awaken the spirit of patriotism and nationalism in the Nigerian youth. With our Ambassador Club training, we hope to bridge all these gaps and prepare the youth for leadership. Our mission is to raise 10 million Nigerians by 2030. Yes, that means 1 million Nigerian a year. Our goal is audacious, but we believe that as more and more Nigerian youth join us, we can achieve it. Would you love to build with us? Sure, connect with us at www.acln.com/join us.
Please.
Or you can call us.
Thank you very much, Global Secretary, and thank you all for being patient with us. Being the first episode, these kind of things are expected. We want you to understand what ACLN is about and how it was bettered. Having known that, I'll be introducing our guest for the day. Our guest for the day is no other person but Dr. Olayeni Koforola Pius, a holder of a PhD holder in architecture, architecture with bias on performance in the profession of architecture and gender in architecture in architectural practices and services in Nigeria, I believe, or globally. Yeah, he is a senior lecturer in the Department of Architecture of Bafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Nigeria. Permit me to bring him in, and he will be our guest for the day. And we're here to deliberate, like our global secretary have told you. We're not here to castigate the government. We're here to share our views and know that he is not a professor of politics or speaking for the Nigeria government. He is here to share his 2P, I'll call it, about the issues that borders our economy. So if you're watching this show live or you're watching the recorded version on YouTube or our other platforms, please do well to share it to other people, and also do well to drop your comment in the comment section. And if you want to be part of us here at ACLN, you love what we're doing, please do well to get in touch with us and be part of the program. So without wasting much time, let me bring in our guest for the day so we'll kickstart the conversation. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your patience, for being with us, and thank you for giving us your time for the day. We know you have other busy activities you will want to engage in today, but you've given us the slot to share and brainstorm ideas with us here at ACLN. Quickly, I wouldn't want to waste your time. You can quickly introduce yourself, then we jump onto the conversation of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Tega. My name is Olayeni Koforola Pius. As earlier stated, I'm in the academics, trained as an architect, chartered architect of Nigeria. I'm a senior lecturer, Department of Architecture, Bafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Nigeria. My bias is in the professional practice of architecture in Nigeria, most importantly, and also gender issue in the practice of architecture and their services generally. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Quickly, let's look into this conversation. We'll be looking at a few issues. We're looking at the new government. You know, we just had election, and we now have a new government in Nigeria. And from that, we'll delve into the issue of the subsidy removal and the strategy, the implementation strategy, and all of that. Then we'll look into the student loan policy that was just rolled out by this government, and we'll look into the issue of the currency unification, which is still an ongoing conversation around our communities. Quickly, let's jump in and let's look at the new government. What's your opinion on the readiness of the new government? You know, we've been hearing promises in Nigeria, you know, more like and this is the reason behind ACLN. We can see that people are no longer like interested in talking about what is going on in the economy. People are not interested in leadership. People are not interested in what is going on in the sphere of our leadership corridors. And if we continue like that, a time will come that we will not, in fact, the people who are meant, the real brain will be in the street, while those who are not meant to lead us will now be in the corridor of power. So now with this new government, what is your thought? 33 days, or how many days after 30-something days plus now they've been in power? What do you think? How do you look at it? Are they prepared? What do you think about preparedness from what you've seen so far? How will you judge the new government so far? Or do you think it's too early to judge them? Over to you. We'll leave that to you to.
Thank you.
To tell us your view.
From the past 33 days of this present administration, especially the federal administration, you will take it as if they are prepared for governance. They are prepared for governance. They have the ideas that they want to run with, and the pace of rolling out their ideas and policies is pretty fast. And so you cannot begrudge them that they are prepared for the assignment. Even the commander-in-chief, the president, said that we asked for the assignment, so don't pity us. And I think he has, like they say in their caucus, they eat the ground running. And I think we are hoping for the best for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's a very short one, and that's precise, actually. Quick one. Let's look at the issue of these subsidy. That was the first policy that it was from the first speech he made, public speech, that the issue of subsidy started, and we know it has been a debate back and forth with the other governments in the past, right? And actually, before we even delve into that, let's look at the problems we have around us in the country, right? Do you see this current government having the capacity to handle those kind of issues that we have that oh no, like we were told in 2015 that Buhari is the Messiah, is the Alpha and the Omega that will deliver Nigeria from corruption? Do you see this government being able to handle the current situation and the complexity of our problems or challenges, I would say, in the country?
Yes, thank you. I think Buhari's situation have taught everybody to be very, very careful about what hope, what aspiration you are having for any government. It was like what we hoped for was not served us eventually with the issue of Buhari. So with this present government, I will want to keep my finger crossed. There are many things they've said in the document, I think, Renewal of Hope. There are many things that have been said that they would like to do, but I want us to just one thing at a time, and let's keep looking at them as they unfolding. Because the problem in the country, or the challenges, let me call it problem, the challenges in the country are multifaceted, and there may not be one solution fit all for everything. As the government turns into the area of challenges, we'll be hoping that they'll be able to get the right fix for each of those challenges. That's at the moment. But whether they will be able to surmount all the problems, the challenges, whether they'll be able to do it well, it's better. It's better to not to have high as hope and aspiration, and for that the hope to be dashed. So in that regard, I will say let's keep watching as the activities keep unfolding.
Thank you very much. I like what you said. Buhari has taught people lessons. I understand. It has become a session where it is difficult for us to actually judge performances in leadership in Nigeria. Hopefully, with ACLN on board and with what we're doing here, with our mission, our vision, and our objective, and with our focus, I believe a time will come where we'll raise Nigerians that we can be proud of, that we can judge their capacity even before they are elected. And that is what we're aiming to achieve here with ACLN.
If I can come into that, please. Yeah. When you look at at least the 3 or the 4, if you take in the NNPP guide, Kwakanso, the general perception was that, give and take, all the 4 of them would be better off than the person that is leaving the seat. That's when you look at their personality and their antecedents, that most likely any of the 4 of them getting to the seat would be able to do better relatively compared to the guy that was leaving. So that's just it. So
good. Okay, quick one. Let's look at the subject of the subsidy removal. It's a big one out there, and yeah. So people have been saying, some have been saying, let's remove it. Over the years, it has been an argument. Jonathan tried it in 2012, and there was a big rally all over the place. In 2015, I think Buhari made an attempt, and there were some argument here and there, and it was halted. Now the government in charge now, I think that was a very first thing in their agenda. It was okay, no matter how you want to protest, if you like protest left or right, day and night, this subsidy has been, not even will be, it has been removed. Yeah, it is gone. Right. So subsidy is gone. So in the first place, let's look at the concept of subsidizing energy. Do you think it should be the job of the government, the duty of the government to subsidize energy for the citizens?
All right, thank you very much. I've checked globally. At one point or the other, the government of most nations subsidize things across board. In the US, even farming business are being subsidized by the government. Energy. A friend in UK posted something on our walls, my class wall, about the issue of energy in the UK, and our government is trying to subsidize energy. And I said, wow. So because the problem is that everybody's apprehensive that today, even energy, the subsidy energy will be gone, and you'll be on your own if you don't have the shock absorber for it. And this issue of subsidy, even Saudi Arabia, we were still on that same platform where somebody was saying, well, Saudi Arabia also have subsidy, even though at a point the Crown Prince, I think some few years back, removed it. But in one way or the other, there's still some palliative. So somebody's opinion was that, well, Saudi is about 30 million population, and the government could play around with some cash to help them. But compared to Nigeria, with about 180, that I normally want to stick with 180 because that's the last thing that we could do. So I think subsidy in itself is not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. I used to know that in the Scandinavian countries some years back, even education subsidy was going on well. I think I was trying to apply to school either in Sweden, Lund. There's this Lund University, and at that time it was the tuition was free. So it means that, but eventually that I think was removed. You have to pay a little now to come in. So subsidy in itself is not a bad idea, and not a bad idea in Nigeria. But the things that follow it is what makes it so bad in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much on that. The issue of subsidy is not a bad idea, according to you. And some other people hold that view out that subsidy is good and it shouldn't be removed. And people have been comparing, just like you said, that there are countries out there where governments are subsidizing the cost of living for citizens. Looking at our unique circumstance, right? We've seen the cost, the huge debt that is before the Nigeria government, and looking at where the previous government, the previous administration left the country before leaving, and now that this one is coming in, do you think the move to remove subsidy is good or bad? What do you think about their move to remove subsidy?
Thank you very much.
Unique circumstance.
Thank you very much. What all the government from Jonathan up to this present government was saying was that was the cost of subsidy, wherein it didn't give enough fund for other critical infrastructure to be tackled. That was the first problem, and then the added problem of the rot in the subsidy scheme in the regime. And I'm an architect. I try to phrase it this way: what's the cost of bringing PMS to Nigeria? And that question arose because the four refinery there about Warri, Port Harcourt, Kaduna, are they three? I think there are about four, two in the city. We're not working. We're not working. They are not refining anything substantial. Even when they were refining, when we are still getting oil refined in Nigeria by NNPC, the government was still subsidizing because the price of fuel is dollarized, and so we have to still do some subsidy. But now, with the Nigerian refinery not working, you now ask yourself, what's the cost of the imported PMS to Nigeria? And that cost, let me say to my own layman understanding, was the cost of drilling the crude, transporting it out of the shore of Nigeria to places like Brussels and all those things. You add that cost of transportation, the cost of distilling, of changing your crude to PMS, to AGO and the likes. And then the cost of shipping the finished product back to Nigeria. And we learned that the super tankers that that normally bring the what do you call it, the finished product, they cannot berth in our shores. So they'll be on the IC. We now need series of smaller ships to go and siphon them into their own and then take them to tank farm. You see, and all those things are in dollars. Do you know what I also discovered was that even the NNPC tank farm we're not working. So we even have to store in private tank farms. And when you now add all those costs, you now get the landing cost of PMS, which will be way, way, way beyond an average Nigeria. So the government have to now subsidize that cost. So you ask yourself, why in the first instance are Nigerian refinery not working? Why are we not refining locally? Somebody said there are two things. Even when you take it away to the international refineries, there are other, the byproducts. That assuming we refine in Nigeria, you get the byproduct like urea and all those that are used for fertilizer. But once you ship it to those countries, there are two kind of agreements, and the later one, the one that Nigerian government took was just give us the major products, PMS, AGO, and probably the one used by the aircraft. So the cost of doing that is one. Then government have to now come and subsidize. So when you look at that, you see that, wow, that's the problem. And then, sir, the people in the business are not transparent. So they either underreport or inflate what they ship out, underreport what they brought in, and the likes. So you see, it's in all, there are a lot of problem in this in this deal.
If I come in here, right? The issue of you've talked about the cost of refining. You talk about why our local refinery is not working. And now you've talked about the cost of even getting the crude, landing cost and all that, right? Now you're talking about transparency in the process. This particular, it boils down to corruption, isn't it? Now there's a video out there I would have loved to play, but because of time we wouldn't go into that. But there's a video out there where Sanusi was actually decrying the same issue of how about oil theft. I would say, let me just generalize oil theft, right? When you said people are the load petroleum products from crude oil, from our from the creeks, and they just move out and stuff like that. Now, looking at that, right? The government has also said that many of the people benefiting from this are the elites. But now the people crying the cry actually of the subsidy are the masses. Are the masses. Given all circumstances, let's assume things we can reverse the hands of the cloth. Let's explore options. What do you think would be the alternate solution to say, oh no, this thing is wrong? But then, maybe if we do it this way or do it that way, we will be able to deal with the issue of these people and the issue of that at the same time. Because now they say that the government is saying that there are cabals that are benefiting hugely from this business, right?
Okay.
But the masses are saying, no, we want the petrol cheap. So at the same point, the government is trying to say, oh, we're helping the masses by pushing this cabal off. And they're telling us that the competition in the market will drive down the price. But the masses are saying, no, don't even remove it. We like it the way it is. Let the cabal enjoy it. Let us have it at its price. What do you think? If you were in government, let's assume you have the chance. So let's be the special advisor or the strategist to this government. What would you have done differently, or what approach will you adopt?
Okay, the masses are saying live and let live. But let me say this: the government, even from when you look at what Okonjo-Iweala said during Jonathan, what brought about the removal at that time, is that the government always want to pluck the low-hanging fruits. Or, in my own parlance, is that the government was saying we can't undo the cabal. So if we can't undo the cabal, we undo the people. We can't undo the cabal, which means the cabal seems they are a government on their own. But okay, since we cannot undo the cabal, let's undo you people. You know your residence is much and all those things. Because let me tell you, let me ask a question. I don't know whether you got these optics of this Nigerian air, the aeroplane that was painted from one color back to Nigerian air color and all those things. And do you know that people were tracking that plane? How that plane left, I think, Ethiopia for Germany, where it was painted on France, and now it came back to Ethiopia and to Nigeria. They did all the optics. By the following day, when the plane was off Nigerian soil, I got some people who are still telling us this is where the plane was as of 2-3 days after leaving Nigeria. So the question is this. One of the other things there was that how can people be going to the creeks, siphoning from crudes, having pipeline? This other man spoke early this week, Issa Yuguda, former Bauchi State government. I was saying how people are even telling Buhari that stop this subsidy. We are tired of making money out of the rots in subsidy. So you ask yourself, can we not get to a point where we'll be able to effectively man our waters, our international waters? Another thing was that even the subsidized fuel with the reduced money is something that West African countries are looking for. So you see Nigerian, tankers taking fuel from the tank farm and then taking it across border. And you ask yourself, and I ask myself, is tanker a pin? It's not a pin that we go out and back. So that back to what I'm saying, tracking. If you have 10,000 tankers in Nigeria, is it, instead of tracking them to know where they are real time, the government felt, let's remove subsidies totally. So the government is seemingly abdicating some of our responsibility and saying, let's push it to the because all these people, ABC, Young Child Grow, at a point they were tracking their luxurious buses. They know where a bus is at a moment. So when you're not saying they move over the Benin Republic, they move to Niger, some of them move to Cameroon, you said these are tankers, for crying out loud. But the government is not willing to do that. So the low-hanging fruit is remove it totally. And not only that, sir, the people that have ripped this nation of that amount, all the government is just saying, let's just close the chapter of subsidy. Let's close it. Where is the deterrent? Why can't you bring them to book? If possible, get some things for the country. But the government would like to say, push the whole thing to the masses, let them continue with it. And I think from my own perspective, it's not the best thing. It is not the best thing. There should be a way to undo the subsidy issue and all those things. Though I'm of the opinion that we cannot continue to have unrestricted subsidy forever. At one point or the other, the government have to, take some things out of it. But as it is now, the government is saying we are powerless as regard the cabal, but at least we can do something with the masses. Thank you very much. I can't hear you. If you can hear me.
Oh, yes. You can hear me now, right? So sorry about that. Yeah.
I can hear you.
Now, the government is saying the cabal is there, right? And they can't deal with the cabal. More like the way we see it. Oh, no, we don't want to look into the issue of cabal, but we know that there are high-profile personalities enjoying from this whole thing, all right?
Yeah.
What strategy do you think, ideally, what approach can we really use? Let's look at what could be a possible solution. Let's say options are, we're giving the government a proposal, right? Because that's what we tend to do in ACLN. We look at solution. Yeah. We all know the problem. The government has done this and the masses are doing that, correct? What would have been the ideal thing in real sense? No, we would have approached it this way, right?
Thank you. And there's this saying also everywhere, most likely that government don't have business in doing business. And I think it's not the best approach. I don't think it's the best approach. But the issue is that, and they said, anything government touches turns to dust. It shouldn't be. So that's why Kaduna Refinery, Portugal Refinery, Warri Refinery are moribund, that they are not doing much. So I think they started on at least a little bit of a good note, privatizing and making private investors to come into it. But I don't think it's the best thing to hand over. Petroleum is a critical thing to the security of this country. I don't think it's the best to totally hand it over to the entrepreneurs. But one of the ways they can do is, as they have been encouraging private individuals to come in, the government should make them to come in, but they should not hand off totally. Luckily, we have been hearing of Dangote Fuel. Many things were coming up and down. The other man, Mele Kyari, was saying, even with that one, the price may not be affordable and all those things. Yeah. So let the government have other players come into it, because another problem is once you have a preferred player, and now the challenge we in the construction industry are even having with cement business, wherein government by through obligation of commission preferred one player to other, and it makes that player to be the super player, determining the prices and not making the prices to actually dance to the dictate of the forces of economy, because the man is in hold of the business. So let's have more player into the downstream sector, let them come in. So no player Dangote is not giving preference other people, because you see there's Lafarge, there's Dangote Cement, there's Boa and some other people. But one way or the other, the government, according to those of us in the construction industry, was that Dangote has undue advantage, and because of that, it dictates the price of cement in Nigeria. So if that will not happen in the oil sector, Dangote has come in. Let some other, I think there are some other hybrid, the refinery are coming up, and let government have more of them, so that if the production is up, probably the price may come down. But let me bring this to you, please. The price of kerosene, subsidy have been removed from kerosene and AGO for at least, if I'm right, probably about 5, 6, 7 years ago. In fact, during Jonathan. But do you know that up till now, kerosene is a no-go area for the locals who use kerosene the most. In fact, kerosene price is per liter is higher than PMS until even with the subsidy removal, kerosene price is still higher. So that to say once we remove subsidy, price will come down, all this, I don't think so, because also of the dollarized economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The issue of dollarization, we'll come to that. We'll come to the issue of the currency later. Then we'll see if that probably could be a solution, because at least the government has ruled out policies, a couple of policies. I want to believe, okay, maybe when we look at the policies in harmony, or let me think holistically, we may be able to come up with a better solution. But probably maybe when we look at them individually, it looks like there are conflicting ideas or something like that,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So we'll come that I will come to that. I will marry it back to this and see how probably that will actually influence this. Let's quickly come into the issue of student loan, right?
Education.
Education,
Good.
because the backbone of any economy is education, and one of the problems we have in Nigeria today is the cost of education. People have been, it's been on the news that we have high level of out of school kids, right? And if we cannot educate the kids, at the end of the day, it will progress into having less people in the tertiary institution, and that will have a net impact on the overall economy when it comes to education. Yeah, that's fine, right? So looking at the fact that now that we have the new government in, they rolled out the policies, which is what they promised anyway. That when we come in, we're promising everyone that we'll roll out student loan and we'll grant loan to everyone. What do you think about the policy that they've just rolled out about this student loan of a thing? And what's your view? What's your take? You think it's something we buy into, or you think it's something that
the policy was not? The policy is not Tinubu's policy. Let me see. He said it during campaign, but the Ninth Assembly had the document given to Buhari, but he didn't sign it since the contestant in his party is saying he's going to do something like that. So I think he gave him the honor to sign that into law. Student loan. Student loan. Well, those of you in diaspora, you know better. You know better. The Supreme Court judgment yesterday of the US, I was following it. And depending on which side of the divide you are, whether you are the liberals in Democrats or you are the conservatives in the Republican, you see that. But you see, student loan, first, the bill was not a well thought out bill. And if you have read the bill, you will understand. One, for you to qualify for the loan, your parent, the combined take-home pay of your parents must not be more than 500,000 naira in a year, which means both of them must not be earning more than 42,000 naira in a month, both of them. So that first remove a lot of people. The people we are thinking we want to help are removed. Why? Because you said the parents, and I'm using a legal means now. What is in the law? It says parents. So the two if you have two, the both father and mother alive working, if they earn more than 42,000 naira combined a month, you are not qualified. That's one. Now, if you are not qualified, you need a level 12 officer in government establishment to sign as guarantor for you, or a lawyer who have been practicing for about, I think, 10 or 12 years. And you ask yourself, where will somebody whose parents are not earning up to 42,000 naira in a month be able to convince somebody who is working for state government or federal government to sign a guarantor from that? If this boy should default or if this lady should default, would be responsible. So that's challenge number 2. Number 3 was that he said payment starts, I think, a year or 2 after, the mandatory service to the nation, NYSC. That was said. That's 2 years after NYSC. Not minding whether the person has a job, a stable income, or not. So 2 years after your NYC, if you are not paying, you are already a defaulter. So you see, they still need to go. And I was told that, sometimes back, they've been, I think in the 80s, we started with such thing like that, and it was riddled with corruption and it died like that. Some of us here, we are not too young to know what Taisholari's bank, the People's Bank went bankrupt. So those are the things you'll be. It's everything government is trying to do is to remove responsibility from it and pass it to the populace, because once that is done.
Yeah, quick one. Let's look at it this way, right? Sorry to stop you there. I want you to, you ordinary from your analysis is obvious. Okay, it is not beneficial to the masses, who masses here now, the students themselves, right? Now let's look at it from the angle of: do you think it's beneficial to the schools themselves? Is it beneficial to the lecturers?
All right.
So let me actually going to benefit apart from the government, the other players in the same.
Assuming it was well thought out, it could be a little bit of benefit to all concerned. But even in the US, student loans are still being repaid. I think they said even Obama also repaid some of his loan era. Are still being repaid many years after people have graduated. And that's where you have a little bit of employment. At least you are sure that even it may not be the formal, even in the informal economy, you can get employment. So the issue of who benefits, it's the government that benefits. Let me just tell you that.
Okay, quick one, right?
Should I say that? Should I say that why it will benefit the school? What the school is to gain is that the tuition, and the loan is for tuition, mind you. Mm-hmm. It's not for any other supporting thing. It's not for housing. It's not for upkeep. So government will pay to the tuition, to the tuition to the institution straight. So it's not that the student will be getting the money. No, you will get the money.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, which is the way they do it in other places.
So you get to the institution. That the tuition fee is not enough to pay the overhead, my brother. For every, and it's also. The problem was man-made. For every academics in Nigeria university, at least in the public university, for every single academics, you have about minimum of 3 or 4 non-academics. So if you have 1,005 academics staff in OAU, you're talking about 6,000 non-academics in that same OAU, and you have to pay them. The overhead, tuition assistants even can't pay for the running of the institution, talk less of overhead for staff salary and all the likes. And because of that, what people are fearing that once we give the loan, we say we give them full autonomy. So every school, you generate everything you need and spend the money the way you want. And they know that this will not be would be enough. So the school will be forced to raise tuition. And let me tell you, no matter how much you raise tuition, it will be difficult to have a balanced book. So the loan, I don't think it's only serves the government a bit right. And then the people, the indigent that the government want to give, if we have something like that. You tell yourself also that some of these, what students are paying in some of the public schools, the government-owned schools, may need to be, reviewed a bit. I'm of the opinion that, there's nothing free. Even in Freetown, you don't get a loan for free. But let me paint a scenario for you in OAU. Mm-hmm. I believe Yika will be telling me, probably some of you. OAU architecture students from Part 2 now will pay about 30,000 per session for tuition. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you, I'm one of the part advisors in my department. You still have few students. They may not be much, around 10, maximum of 15 out of from part one to from part two to part four. That's about 60, 70, and 80. Okay, out of about 200 and something students, you see about 15 of them who are struggling to pay that. Who are struggling to pay that. So before the removal of before the student loan, OU have started mooting at the idea that they want to increase tuition. And I saw the document, and they sent the document to each department that suggests how much you think would be fair to train your student. Many of us, we didn't answer them because they are not transparent. So that they will not say it was ASU that suggested this amount. So go to hell if you can't pay it.
Okay, quick
so
one.
Without,
yeah. Let me bring it. Yeah, we have a bit of short time left there. Let me quickly bring something in. Yeah, before we move to the issue of unification of the naira. Yeah, and the dollar. Right. Let me bring something in. Let's look at a solution. Yeah, approach this time around. Right. Do you think a reform would have, aside this student loan, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you see if a possible education reform that would have possibly be beneficial to both the government, the schools themselves, the lecturers, and the parents and the students?
Yes, and the employer of labor.
Yeah, the employer of labor, exactly, yeah. So at least a fair grant that will favor everybody across, and maybe we would have, instead of here complaining, would have been saying, let's talk about how we praise this government for this policy, probably.
Good. Let me say, and this is my personal opinion, and I'm not talking as regard whether somebody who is in the union. One, I believe that there will be a need for the government and the parents to sit down and the school to look for a middle ground for tuition fee to be tracked a bit, just to bring it. Let me tell you, some state-private institutions, when I said state-private, many states are now floating universities and they are calling them private institutions. I can give you a few names around the Southwest. There's University of Medical Sciences in Ondo by Ondo State Government. There's First Technical University in Ibadan by Ondo State Government. I think Osun State University also is. They are they are state-owned institutions. But my friend, I know of Unimed. The least you can pay Unimed for a session, if you are indigenous of Ondo State, is around 800,000. The least for any course, the least of, because let's say the 800 will be for either biochemistry, microbiology. If you're in nursing, the list I saw last, if you're nursing and you're non-indigene, for your first year you pay about 1 point something. Let's say 1.3, 1.4. Indigene will pay about 1.1. So, but we need to. Some of the things we have to do is increase at least a bit, not in that exorbitant price. Increase a bit the tuition. And then the government must block the rods in the educational system, the finances. I must tell you, a lot goes on in these universities. Even with the TSA, people still go around the scheme of the TSA to siphon money away from this. So the government must block that. And I believe that with little more money coming from students. Now, when we now see extremely indigent students, those one can now apply for government subvention through their schools, because we know that this one, because when some of the people in the diaspora write to our schools that they want to help indigent students, and they tell us, help us. You have to, when we start interviewing them, if you say your teacher, your father teaches, let's say, Federal Government College, Ibadan, for example, your mother works in Adeoyo Hospital, we won't count you as indigent students. But somebody who, probably the father is late, the mother works in a private primary school, earning about 18,000 per month, you know that. So those are the things we can do. Tweak the tuition fee a bit, block the loopholes that we have, and that loopholes transcend everyone from the ministry, Federal Ministry of Education, State Ministry of Education to the school. You see, ASU, one of the reasons ASU went on strike sometimes back was that they said initiate an investigation into all these schools. After 2 years, government initiated investigation. The white paper up till now, they submitted the white paper since 2019. Nobody acted on the white paper. And the white paper will show you that these are where the roads are. So why must you force the government? You are the owner of the school. We have to go on strike for you to say, come and look at the books of your school. After we force you to look at the books, now work on it.
Okay, let me chip in an idea. Hopefully, since you are a lecturer and hopefully you can take this back to the union if you have the privilege to be in one of their meetings or to communicate with any of the executives. Look, this is my personal opinion and doesn't represent the view of ACLN like we always do here, or whatever we communicate here. I'm an entity, I'm not ACLN, and you are an entity. So whatever we say clings to is our views, right? Just as a way of sharing, brainstorming ideas, right?
Yeah.
What do you think of a situation, which is something I was running in my head when I read that policy? Yeah, student law would have been nice, right? But what of a situation where we say, oh no, we've had too many of graduates in the streets looking for job because the education system is no longer producing viable youth with viable ideas that can actually raise businesses even at the micro level, right? Now, what if we say, let's reform the educational system by saying, okay, no, for every course in Nigeria, no matter whether, apart from medicine, every other course in Nigeria should be maximum 3 years for a degree, if not even 2.5 years. Let's compress the curriculum, right? Then we focus on actually delving directly into what you're studying. If I'm here to study mechanical engineering, there's nothing involving me with the first year of saying, oh, English language. You know what we do is biology. We don't need all that. I'm here for mechanical engineering. From day one, I should be about the business of mechanical engineering. So we'll compress the curriculum and remove all those things like, oh, logic, philosophy. We don't need all that as far 100, you know. Okay. So, because more like, if you look at our scheme, what we do in 100 level is what we've done is JAMB and SS3. So that's more like repeating the same thing. So if we compress the scheme and say, okay, let's do 3 years or 2.5 years for a degree, right? That reduces the expenses and the burden on both the student and the parents.
And the government.
Now, the cost of government paying lecturers and so will reduce, right? The lecturer's job of having to see these students' face for another 2.5 years or 2 years reduces. So that's everybody balances out. Then we'll progress the reform and say, okay, no, let's now say, instead of spending 5 days in school, we don't need all that because the 5 days is very hectic. We do morning, 8, some classes you have 8, I know my days, we have 8 to 6, some 8 to 4. You would have been drained and you have assignment in all these classes and it pile up through the night, we'll go to class to read. So more like your 24 hours is useless. Pursuing one degree that may not be useful at the end of the day. What if we say, oh no, let's do it 3 days? And instead of saying more of let's do 3 days study. You have 4 days to yourself, including Sunday and we are Saturday now. 4 days to yourself to pursue your life skill. So you define what you want to become or what you want to make out of this program with the other 4 days, right? That is another bit of a policy. Then,
do you want me?
Just one minute. I want you to quickly run because we're running out of time, right? So I want to put all together so you comment on it. Then we'll come again and say, okay, no, instead of this system, we got what drains students. I was once in Nigeria, so I graduated from Nigeria before traveling out, right? What drains us most is the fact that you hear that you have an exam. The way you read for examination-based courses is very different from the way you read for thesis or assignment-based courses, right? Let's reduce exam-based courses to assessment-based. More like we just give you assignment, go and research, but we'll focus more emphasis on plagiarism. Right?
All right.
So when I say, okay, do it 3 days, more assignment instead of examination, and 3 or 2.5 years degree, right? On that ground, we'll reduce cost across all board. Government is not spending, parents are not spending, university lecturers are working less, and probably, So what do you think of such policy, or what will you say of it?
Compressing the let me take architecture for example. In the 80s, architect students come in, they do MTH 101, 102, they do MTH 202 and vectors. They do chemistry in part 1, chemistry 101, 102. and then they run it for 5 years, and another 1.5 years for masters. Later, it was said chemistry. What is chemistry? Why did so they removed chemistry from the curriculum? But we have physics, we have MTH, and they removed the 200 level mathematics. Then later, as the curriculum was reviewed, we were saying MTH 101 is for engineering students. Let's go for mathematics for social science students, where actually architecture belongs. So we remove MTH 101, we come into SS 105 and 106. And that is what it should be. Some courses, as you said, can be done in 3 years. Really, can be done in 3 years. But when people, where you are now, they will be asking our students to go and bring proof of English proficiency. How will UK be asking Nigerian graduates to bring proof of English proficiency, to say that this person was, they give us English, and we are Anglophone country, and they're still asking us to be bringing English approval. So that's why you have to do the GNS, the electives in English.
Yeah, but even at that, it's not acceptable anyway. This is where the grammar comes. Even when you're traveling abroad, whether you have master degree, PhD, and you present it as proof of English, it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
You have to go through the IELTS, the TOEFL, and the likes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You still have to go through the program anyway.
So that's one now. Now, the issue about 3 days in a week. And we are also talking about life skills, at least using the other 4 days to pursue life skills. That'll be good in areas where there are life skills. But skills also go with energy. Okay, want to go do something in the area of ironmongery, want to do something. Skills that you, as I'm speaking with you, when we're doing the background, when you are saying you are hearing noise, is my inverter. I've been on my inverter for the past hours now. So you because if a student is in Ife from Lagos, he cannot go back to Lagos after lectures on Wednesday. He cannot be transiting because there is also the danger. So he must stay within Ife to get something doing. And I have a maximum of about 10 to 11 hours of light every day. They give about 5 hours in the day, and that's when we are not in the house. I'll be bringing it around 11, and take it around 3:34 when we are coming back home, and then they bring it around 11 p.m. in the night, and then they take it around 5 a.m. in the morning. So how do you get some of these things? So those are the issue. You talk about lecturers doing less. Yes, it's good that they'll do less. They'll be able to have even
time
productive in research and all those things. But you see, one thing is this. It's not all bad. I have a student, I have two of them that had top class from architecture, and one of them entered the UK early June. Under this scheme of, what do you call it? The World Global, these people with skills, with global skills in the UK.
Skills,
Yeah, he got there. And the guy, even with the top class, came in for his PGD, did his master's and finished. But I know, even from when I was taking in part 2, part 3, that it's only that this guy had challenges, is very good. And that was it. Another person, 2021, had his PhD in UK. He had the third class, living here. But luckily for him, the parents are, in the good setting. I think he got a scholarship. And as of now, between 2014 and now, he has a PhD. He has changed his job, as he was telling me in December. And so it's not that we are the whole thing is bad. The majority of our products are bad, but you have that point that we can have better skilled students, and exams. My brother, exam, or the way of assessing students. We don't break because I've seen some little things. I don't know where you schooled, but they call it CGPA. That is cumulative grade points.
Yep.
And for some of the other schools, they don't do CGPA. If you fail Maths 101, you pay and come and redo it.
Yeah.
And the F grade is yanked off. It won't even ever appear on your transcripts. But in Ife, everything you have will follow you anywhere you go. So that's the problem that I hope they will not be lowering. And if you know the number of universities in this country, and that we don't have enough manpower to man those universities.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, universities are shopping for eggs from existing university. So if I leave this place, I go to, let's say, Ondo State University in Akuba, and I'm lecturing there, I won't be able to give much to them. And then they say, okay, because you are coming, these are students, we don't want any of them to fail and all those things. And personally, and I'm talking now personally, I do much of assessment than exams. I do my test. I give.
Oh, there's a bit of a glitch from your end now. Okay, so while we're waiting for our guest to come over, I believe there's a network glitch there, which is what we normally get on live shows like this. So you'll be watching this conversation, and you can see that we'll be looking at those issues from the beginning, and we'll be looking at, let's do a review. We've talked about the fuel subsidy. We've talked about the new government. We've talked about the student loan policy. And now we're looking at it in the light of educational reform as against giving money to the government. So our guest is back. Sure you... just bear with me. We'll bring you back in. So, okay.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, you went off for few seconds. Okay. We could hear you till when you said if they called you to come and lecture in another university.
Yes, in another university, they'll be telling you the student must not fail. You can imagine they said they must not fail, and even those that fail, they say you have to come and do a makeup for them and the likes.
Yeah,
and that's one. But say for example, I was saying also that in my own department, in my own course, I take my students, I give them assessment-based something. My tests are always 2 tests across the 13 weeks. Then we go to live site, where we have engineers, QS, structural people speak to the students.
Yeah, more like a live.
And I ask them to write their reports. So their report with the 2 tests gives them 40 marks already out of the 100 marks. So when you come for the exam, it's just 60, and it's not anything heavy for them. So I believe some of the things you said will work out well, but some will need, because we can, the number of universities in this country is alarming when you consider that we don't have, and the NUC will tell you the number of PhD we have in Nigeria. There was a report from NUC. Some universities, both in North and East, have only about 4-5 permanent PhD staff, and nothing more than 3 professors permanent. So what they do is they shop for adjunct lecturer here and there who comes in and all those things.
Yeah. So what we do? Yeah, what we do? Yeah, you see, the issue of education is a very big issue in Nigeria, and it goes a long way in imparting on our leadership system. What we'll do, maybe one of these days we'll bring it another episode, we'll bring you back, and we'll actually delve into the education system, the possible reforms, and the class of education. Because we're only focusing on the formal education, but there are other kind of education that can be very beneficial.
Can I come in quickly a bit?
Yeah, if you can use 30 seconds to just round it up.
The cutoff for JAM now, if you know what they put it at 130. That if you have 130 out of 400, the school can give you admission. But they said all those high-headed universities like UI, ABU, OU, they will put their own at 180. And you know, many institutions have people that score 140, 130 in the university. Must we all go to the university? That's where you are coming from, and I agree with you. So they can go into other areas.
Exactly.
But when you go to polytechnics, the theory, what do you call it? The art courses, the art-based courses are even more than the technical courses in the polytechnics, which shouldn't be.
This is it's because we're all focusing on one thing. So the polytechnic is trying to blend into the formal education that we are all appreciating. So maybe one of these episodes we'll try and bring that in. We'll delve into the concept of Nigerian education and the possible reforms that could actually benefit all our unique circumstance. Before we leave, let's quickly use actually, well, in fact, we're way over our time. Let's use maximum 3 minutes to look into the concept, the issue of the dollar unification. So in the next 3 minutes, I'll just throw the whole question to you. You break it down in the next 3 minutes, and that will be it for this episode. Now, the concept of before now, we've always had CBN having one rate, then the Aboki on the market side have another rate, and it has been a big problem for our system for the past many years, right? This government have always said that they will unify the dollar. Means during their campaign they said it, right? And they've come in now. The first thing, one of their first policies was to make sure that they implement the policy to say, oh no, let's float the naira. That's the approach to unify it. So let's float it. Let's leave it. Okay, buy as you like, sell as you like. What do you think? Do you think our circumstance at the moment, does it favor the economy, or is it something that doesn't favor us? Again, what do you think would have been done to eradicate that black market thing that we call black market? We don't have it here in Europe. We don't have it in America, I believe. There's a channel from which you get the currency, and that is the only channel by which you get the currency, right? Do you think we can have such system? How can we really do it? What do you think? And with our unique circumstance, if the system is not good, if the policy is not favorable, rather, what policy or what approach, what strategy the government should have taken? So I'll leave that to you. So in the next 3 minutes, we'll use that to round up and there.
Floating the dollar is good for the economy.
It's like we lost you there. So the network has started playing over your end. So this is some of the things we get. Like I was asking you, I believe you followed me. I was trying to know the current policy about the naira and the dollar issue, the exchange rate. Do we really think it's something beneficial to us? What is your own view? What do you really think? Because some of these things, this is how this conversation goes out there. And some of the leaders we have, they actually get their opinion from the public. So whatever you share on the public informs their decision as well. So not all of them just use their own opinion. They go out there, see what the general masses are looking for, and they propose them to their respective bosses, and that becomes policy that we see. So in your view, what do you think? Is this something that is favorable to us? While waiting for our guests to come in, do you think the strategy that the government has taken, is it the best? Is the implementation right? What do you think? So I'll leave that to you while we're waiting for our guest. If our guests cannot come in, maybe we'll bring that again in the future. Okay, is that actually I can see it's off the network, meaning the network has actually completely gone from its end. So I'll leave that for you. What we'll do, we'll come back again on this subject, and probably we'll take it off from there in a future episode, coupled with the subject of the education that we're talking about, looking at a possible reform to the Nigeria educational system. What would work for us, our unique circumstance. I only like using the word unique circumstance, because we have a unique system that is peculiar to our society. So irrespective of what we want to compare Nigeria to, the US, the UK, Canada, any other country you want to compare us to, don't forget the fact that we have our own unique population. We have our own unique people and their behavior. So these are all variables that impact on what is obtainable in government. And on this note, I'll call it a day on this episode. Please do well to make it a time with us here on ACLN Global, and we call this program ACLN Voice of Progress, or you call it ACLN VOP. It will be airing every other week, which is every 2 Saturdays, twice monthly. Please do well to make a time with us, 4 p.m. Nigeria time, and that is when we'll be going live on the ACLN page. Please do well to join us, and do well to also share. If you want to join ACLN, you know what to do. We'll show the video, and I will still show the video again to end it up here, so that you will know who we are, what we're up to, and if you want to be a member, you follow the link and the number you see on the screen. All right, so that is it on this episode. I leave you for now. I remain your host. I am TG.
The Association for Credible Leadership in Nigeria, headquartered in New Jersey, United States, was born out of the dearth of credible visionaries and selfless leaders in our dear nation, Nigeria. A group of Nigerians in the diaspora came together in 2015 with a unique vision of advocating for good governance in Nigeria and have since been working towards this goal. The vision is to advocate for a new Nigeria, governed by leaders who are trustworthy, competent, and patriotic. Our mission is to work towards achieving credible leadership in Nigeria, and we hope to achieve this by building a team of committed, credible, patriotic Nigerians that share our passion and values. To remain nonpartisan and operate independently of any political party, religious organization, tribe, or creed. To embark on programs that will empower Nigerian youths and reorientate them to think differently, become patriotic, and understand good governance, and constantly demand for the same. To educate Nigerians through publications, symposiums, and conferences. To sensitize the Nigerian population about the importance of unity, and more importantly, about the power in our diversity. To awaken the spirit of nationalism and patriotism in the young and old Nigerian. We are guided by these 7 values: integrity, trustworthiness, competency, patriotism, accountability, excellence, and social and environmental responsibility. In ACLN, we believe greatness is not the best of everything that we possess, but in the sacrifice we make to ensure we leave our nation and the world around us a better place than we met it. If what we do at ACLN excites you, we encourage you to contact us at 862-520-704 or log on to our website www.acln.org.